When I look back at everything that's happened to create rhythm workshops to be what it is today, it's actually kind of funny because absolutely none of it was intentional.
So yeah, things have changed a great deal. In fact, things change every day. It's amazing.
You hear those stories about how some people, they have a plan and they follow it and they execute everything as they've envisioned it and they get to the place that they hoped they would be. Well, Rhythm Workshops was not created that way. It was actually a response to some things that kids needed in the community.
And I think a big part of that is that Mr. Ed began taking the kids into the community with him to perform. Because it was one thing for people to watch Mr. Ed perform. It's an entirely different level when other children can see kids perform.
When I was in the Air Force about 25 years ago, I had a student, his name was Alex. He was 10 years old, and his mother invited me out to his school to do a little presentation on the drums. When I did the presentation, what happened really surprised me because it became less about my drumming and more about kids wanting to know how I did what I did, what was it like growing up, and what kind of things did I do as a kid to be where I am today as an adult. And that really did surprise me because I thought it was all about the technical abilities. I thought it was about the music. But really what I ended up learning from the kids when I was trying to teach them was that life isn't about trying to replicate someone else's ability so much as it is to find out what impassions someone to want to be who they are. And most of the questions that I received from the kids were things like, how long have you been playing the drums? How old were you when you knew that you were good at doing something? And when did you know it was okay to follow what it was that you wanted to do with your life? And it was those kind of questions that prompted me to reevaluate what it was that I was doing in my life. And it really impacted the way that I presented things when I went to schools.
The first time that I saw Mr. Ed working with my son, it was clear he had what I thought was the gift, the teaching gift. And certainly when he came to Berkman Elementary, where I teach, and I'm surrounded by teachers every day, it was very evident that he knew exactly how to read the students, exactly how to gauge where they were at and what they were ready for. And there was a flow and an energy that he went with them that was really a beautiful thing, and I shared that with him.
The thing that I noticed the most was that they filed in after lunch and everyone was, you know, just kind of tired, I think, and maybe a little hesitant about what they were going to be doing. And what was amazing was in a matter of minutes, really, they went from just looking tired and a little bored to literally standing on their feet and hands raised, and they could not wait to participate. And so that was something that Ed was able to do, was to kind of pull the energy out of them and energize them. So that was really neat to witness.
And I've noticed that too. There's something about Ed, just his energy. The room just gravitates toward it. We've been to a couple of different rhythm workshops, and that's something that struck me was that Ed will come in and he'll be talking in a normal speaking voice, and this is a group of pretty rowdy kids, and within a few minutes they're all eyes are on him just because he exudes such energy. And he doesn't need to shout, he doesn't need to raise his voice. The energy just pulls the kids toward him.
Rhythm workshops came to my school. We were fortunate to be one of the campuses they picked first, so it was kind of neat, and it was kind of like an unknown what's going to happen, which is kind of exciting. And I'm on a campus where a lot of my students wouldn't necessarily have opportunities to be exposed to really great music in a really different way. And so everybody's coming into the cafeteria and they weren't really sure what was going on, and all of the drum kits were set up on the stage, and it was buzzy, it was exciting. And so when he got started and the kids were playing, it just got silent and they were totally engaged. When he came down to the floor and started working with them, he was among the students. The hands were shooting up, and kids that I know as being very introverted kids who wouldn't take risks, somehow he knew and picked those students, and those are the ones he worked with and did different rhythms with, and the looks on their faces were just priceless, because I don't really think that they ever thought they would be able to do anything like that, and they were having a great time.
Schools are constantly calling me to have us come in and perform for special education classes or sometimes the entire school. This is so much fun. We bring our students, Mr. Ed, Miss Rebecca, and then Mr. Ed will talk to the kids about following their dreams and following their passions. Even if it's not music, it doesn't have to be limited to music. And then here's the fun part. Mr. Ed brings the audience members up and has them do little drum tricks. And the most fun probably is when it ends with the teachers coming up and jamming out with Mr. Ed. We have a lot of fun doing that.
When Rhythm Workshops was at my school, Mr. Ed gave the staff an opportunity to volunteer and come up and do the similar thing to what the students were doing. So he was standing in the middle of them, of the students, and had all these different kinds of drum-like things, and was handing them sticks and doing rhythms. And so, of course, teachers are at the back of the room watching, monitoring kids, chomping at the bit because they wanted to do it too. So it's a universal thing. So it was fun to see who volunteered to do that and who came up, and you know, the teachers are getting into it as much as the kids, and the kids love, love, love when their teachers take risks and do fun things, because it shows that we're human beings too, and we love music and we love doing those same kinds of fun things.
And as word got out and I started to play more at schools and at libraries and other locations like community centers and places where there were lots of kids, more and more kids were curious about how this drummer guy got to do what he got to do for a living. And that fascinated me even further, because I had never considered the idea that, you know, we're all robots and we have to follow a certain path that's given to us because our teachers tell us to, or our parents tell us to, or our friends tell us to, but because there's something inside each one of us that is special and unique. And when we find that thing, whatever it is, whether it be drums, whether it be music, whether it be you name it, then it's our responsibility to act on it and do something with it and share it with the world.
So it'd be very easy to, it'd be very easy for someone like Ed to go into a situation where you've got a group of kids with perceived limitations, whether they be emotional or, you know, there's a challenge at home or a physical challenge, and look, and that's where you start from that point, like, okay, you're working against that. But what's really struck us about Ed is that he sees past that. He sees the possibility.
What I can also say about Ed's approach with kids is even with witnessing his approach with my children, because 2 of my children have taken lessons with him, and both of the kids are completely different. They have completely different abilities and different kind of ethics on how they work on their abilities, and he has a really beautiful way of equalizing his approach with everyone. No matter what their potential is or what their skill level is, he will give everyone the same level of respect.
Once I realized the kind of things that I went through as a kid and what was important to me, it made it very clear what I needed to do when I visited kids everywhere.
We go into children's hospitals. A lot of times when kids are chronically or terminally ill, they're in hospitals for months at a time. And it's really nice for them to think, oh, I'm in the hospital, bummer. But hey, at least it's Wednesday and Mr. Ed's gonna come jam with us and teach us some music skills.
As an educator, I've taught for a while, and in elementary school especially. I know the importance of music in children's lives, the part that it plays for them, not only for engagement, but also with learning and how that really works with their brains and how they learn. And for kids, really music is a form of play, educational play, and it's so integral to children's development and learning to be able to express themselves emotionally as well. So to be able to expose any of my students, which I call my kids at school, kind of my school kids, my own kids, to expose them to that and to have that experience with rhythm, with everyday objects, something that they could duplicate even at home, just to play, even if they couldn't take classes or couldn't do those things, and get them kind of inspired as they get a little bit older and into middle school, and maybe, pique that interest of what they might want to do later in life.
At Rhythm Workshops, we're not about creating something for people to buy into. We're about responding to the needs of what all kids have everywhere. Everything that we've done and what we're doing is really a response to what the kids in our community are desiring to know more about. And that's to know more about themselves, what they're capable of doing, and what they can do with their lives.
So the message is that you can do whatever you want to do. You can, if you just believe in yourself, you can do it. And the really cool thing about it is it's a rhythm workshop. It's about drums and it's about music, but I think that that's kind of just Ed's vehicle to be able to give that message to kids, because that's what he does for them in I guess through using drums. Yeah, and it's even in the workshops I've attended, it's been great to see that message also go to adults like me and Tina and others. We all need to hear that. We all need, you get beaten down in this tough life and you hear no a lot, and it's good to have that message reinforced. And it's good to see the teachers in the audience nodding their heads and the others just kind of picking up on that same message. So I think it's really important that everyone hears that, and to have it come from such a great, strong, positive, energetic place really drives it home. So.
Here at Rhythm Workshops, our workshops are designed to help kids reach their potential in life. It may not be music related, but it gives them goals to work toward, and it opens up just the possibility of creativity. Really though, we do hope that all kids get involved in music. Mr. Ed's big on showing the kids that it's okay to do what they love. He always says, as long as it's not hurting you and it's not hurting others, and you love to do it, go ahead and do it. He even tells them, even if your teachers or parents tell you you can't, go ahead and do it anyway. So yeah, he's a rebel that way.
Our mission is to bring musical experiences into the community, focusing on groups of people who have little access to making music. All music has rhythm. All instruments use rhythm, and drumming is a great way to establish rhythmic confidence. Our passion is to inspire and help kids to transition into music programs at their schools. And this is where you can help. We're asking you to connect us with kids who could benefit from our programs. Rhythm Workshops is free to all who attend, and we look forward to working with you and your organization.
What is Rhythm Workshops?
Rhythm Workshops is meaningful.
Rhythm Workshops is exciting.
Rhythm Workshops is real.
Rhythm Workshops is fun.
Rhythm Workshops is inspiring.
Rhythm Workshops are uplifting.
Rhythm Workshops is helpful.
Rhythm Workshops is encouraging.
Rhythm Workshops is cool. Rhythm Workshops is hard to say.
Rhythm Workshops are motivating.
Rhythm Workshops is refreshing.
Rhythm Workshops is where it's at.
Rhythm Workshops is one of a kind.
Rhythm Workshops is totally worth your time arranging and having for your students to come and enjoy.
Rhythm Workshops is needed in your community.